Bienvenido, soy el abogado Rolando Vázquez. Gracias por estar de nuevo con nosotros en Abriendo Fronteras Podcast. Hoy vamos a hablar con un periodista, Jorge Ventura, sobre la frontera, pero también vamos a hablar sobre una situación que se hizo viral por las redes sobre unos venezolanos que agredieron a otro ciudadano. Y quiero hablar de, en general, una situación donde si entras por frontera y cometes un crimen en los Estados Unidos, ¿cuál es la situación? ¿Okay? Y aparte de eso, quiero darle, quiero decir feliz año nuevo al público. Vamos a arrancar el 2022 con mucho bueno contenido relevante a la comunidad. Y vamos a empezar con esto. Pasé por frontera y cometí un crimen. Antes de empezar, quiero dar mi opinión sobre este tema. Obviamente, todo el mundo me conoce como un abogado que pone muchos filtros a quién voy a representar. Muchas veces alguien, cuando piensa en un abogado, el abogado, puede tomar cualquier cosa y defender el derecho de tal persona. Es un poco diferente para mí siendo abogado de inmigración. Obviamente, como ciudadano de este país, como profesional en este país, tengo que balancear los dos, morales y éticas. Moralmente, yo ya he hecho una decisión, no voy a ayudar a gente mala a entrar a este país. No voy a ayudar a gente que están lidiando con grupos terroristas. Si apoyas gobiernos terroristas, si apoyas gobiernos, para ser más específico, comunistas o socialistas que realmente no se quieren ir del poder y lo hacen a la fuerza, atacan, maltratan, golpean, matan, torturan a gente de oposición. Realmente muchos de mis clientes son víctimas de ideologías marxistas. Y lo voy a seguir siendo. Y los marxistas y los que apoyan al socialismo, al comunismo, no los quiero en este país. No los voy a ayudar a llegar a este país. Y gente mala en general. Si tú crees que está bien maltratar a otra persona, no cuentas conmigo para llegar a este país. Obviamente yo creo mucho en el defensa propia. Obviamente eso es muy importante. La ley en la Florida tiene muy buenas leyes sobre la defensa propia. Eso siempre es necesario. Pero de con intenciones malas, hacerle daño a otra persona, no, yo no represento a gente con esas características, ¿ok? Ahora vamos a hablar con Jorge Ventura y luego después vamos a hablar de cómo te afecta un crimen en los Estados Unidos. ¿Qué es lo que dice la ley? Y estamos aquí con Jorge Ventura. Jorge Ventura es un periodista aquí en los Estados Unidos muy reconocido y va creciendo, sigue creciendo. Es impresionante. Él se especializa en muchas áreas del periodismo, pero mucha gente lo conoce por el trabajo que él hace en la frontera. Jorge fue el periodista que le sacó la foto al venezolano joven cargando a la señora de tercera edad cruzando el río. Jorge estaba ahí ese día, sacó la foto y se hizo viral y creo que ha sido simbólico del éxodo de los venezolanos en años presentes. Ahora, voy a hacerles preguntas a Jorge sobre la frontera porque la situación de frontera ha cambiado mucho en los últimos años, de la administración de Trump a la administración de Biden. Jorge, bienvenido. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Rolando?
Doing great. Jorge, una pregunta. Yo sé que tienes mucha experiencia en la frontera, pero ¿cuál es tu experiencia actualmente de la frontera? ¿Qué es lo que tú estás viendo? What are you seeing at the border currently? What is the difference from times in the past?
So the main thing, Rolando, what kind of maybe started this huge migration of all these migrants at once was when we transitioned from the Trump administration to the Biden administration. The big thing was when the Biden administration came in, is through executive order, they removed Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. And then you also had Vice President Kamala Harris say, hey, if you come to the border, we're actually not going to deport you. We are a more humane administration. So when they did this, that's when we saw people really from all over start to come to the border. The thing is, though, Rolando, that maybe many people don't know is that the cartels and a lot of these human smuggling groups take advantage of these migrants. So these, the migrants, they're not, they're not bad people. These are innocent people that are, looking to get away from either corrupt countries or administrations like a Nicaragua, like a Venezuela. But the thing is, these criminal organizations like these cartels, especially in Mexico, take advantage of these people and will essentially capture a lot of migrants at once, put them all on the border, and overwhelm border patrol. So that's what we're seeing, this kind of huge influx throughout the whole year so far under the Biden administration. As of right now, under Biden and Kamala, over 1.9 million migrants have crossed into the country. So we've never seen these numbers before. So that's really the big difference between the Trump administration and the Biden administration, is that this Biden administration isn't, I say they don't have an aggressive tone when it comes to migration, and the Remain in Mexico policy was a huge difference.
Well, esos números son impresionantes. 2 millones. Now, with those numbers last year alone, almost 2 million?
Yeah, well, almost 2 million. We finished the fiscal year at 1.7 million illegal crossings. But the total so far under Biden and Kamala, we're almost at that 2 million mark. We might actually already be over. We're still waiting for some of the numbers to come out. But it's something that we've never actually seen in United States history before.
Estos números son de gente que pueden comprobar, pero hay gente que ha entrado que no saben, so puede ser que el número es mucho más de lo que se está calculando. Can the number actually be higher if we're not including those that they don't know about who came into the country?
Oh, absolutely. So the word for this, Rolando, that I learned from Border Patrol was they call this gotaways. So a gotaway is a migrant that crosses into the country illegally, and the Border Patrol was able to either detect by, they have a lot of these sensors at the border, so they were able to detect them, but they weren't able to apprehend them. The reason why Border Patrol, this worries them about the gotaways, is because what we're seeing is the regular innocent people that cross illegally right now, they cross, but they actually want to be apprehended by Border Patrol. They want to go through the process of being released into the United States and given a court order. The migrants usually with criminal history are the ones that they come into the country and are looking to get in and not be apprehended at all. So either they have past criminal history already in the United States, they've already been deported in the past, or they're actually running drugs in for the cartel. As you know, Rolando, right now in the United States, we actually never had a moment like this where fentanyl has become a huge problem. And this is where we talk about the cartels. They take advantage of migrants, they kidnap them, and some of the migrants, especially the men, not the women as much, but the men, they'll use the men to run the drugs into the country. So that's a huge worry, is the gotaway. So on the numbers, we might be at 1.9 million, but they could be a lot higher. And that's the thing, is it's hard to get a rough estimate. In my opinion, from what I've seen, we might be at 2.3, 2.4 million illegal crossings with those gotaways.
Those are impressive numbers. Esos números son impresionantes. Lo que todo mundo, tiene miedo es la gente que está entrando, que no saben de sus antecedentes en otro país, o que realmente no sabemos quién son estas personas. Si son gente mala, obviamente están entrando sin tener inspección. Jorge, ¿puedes hablar sobre la gente que entra, que no... ¿cómo te diré? Gente mala que entra, gente que no están inspeccionando, que tienen antecedentes en otro país, que puede ser que en otro país han cometido homicidio, violación, o sea, trabajan para organizaciones de criminales. My question is, the worry for everyone is, who are these people coming in? If we don't know their criminal background, they can be in their country, they could have criminal history for homicide, rape, they could belong to criminal organizations. What are you seeing there at the border?
So when I'm down there and I'm speaking with law enforcement and Border Patrol, now when they do apprehend some of these gotaways, obviously they'll run their criminal history. The majority of people that I'm seeing, Rolando, and this is actually pretty scary to think about, is these the migrant men who are coming in. Some of them actually, well, the majority of them actually have sexual crimes in the United States. We're talking about rape, sexual assaults, molestation of young children. So they have that criminal history and they're coming in. That's something to worry about. But another part too, Rolando, is we're actually having a lot of migrants come from Europe and in Eastern Europe. Border Patrol agent I just spoke to, this was really recent, like 2 weeks ago in Yuma, Arizona. They apprehended a 21-year-old from Yemen who actually has ties to terrorist organizations. So we're not just talking about, gang members and cartel members, which obviously we want to worry about coming from South America or Central America and Mexico, but we're also having literal terrorists come through the country from a Yemen, from a country like Jordan, Uzbekistan, and sometimes we're running into. So that's a high area of concern. But so far, they've been catching these guys with past criminal history. Even one Border Patrol agent that I was speaking to yesterday in the Del Rio section, he apprehended a man with connections to MS-13 and then had sexual crimes already committed in the United States. Obviously, as Americans, Rolando, and also for migrants, that's not the people you want in our country. And the thing is, like I said, the big worry is that these people don't want to be apprehended by Border Patrol. Obviously, we're not talking about the innocent folks. When they're okay. It's these folks that we should be extremely worried about. And the thing is too, Rolando, is these folks also pose a threat to the migrants crossing. They'll sexual assault the women that cross. They'll assault them and physically beat them. Last time you and me went live, Rolando, in Yuma, as you remember, Venezuelans that were crossing, the innocent people, they were very scared because of the Mexicans on the other side that were harming them, stealing from them. So it's a high level of concern.
Yeah. Jorge, and just one last question. Una última pregunta para Jorge. Hemos visto de todas nacionalidades entrando, pero lo que sí vimos últimamente es gente de Colombia, los números de colombianos entrando. George, the rise in the Colombian numbers, Colombia is going through a scare with the subsequent, presidential candidate who has ties to, the Maduro regime, with communism, and it looks like they're starting to flee. Los colombianos ahorita están viendo cuáles son los posibles opciones que van a tener para un candidato presidencial, y el que viene ganando las estadísticas ahorita tiene enlaces con el régimen de Maduro, abiertamente es de un guerrillero comunista, y y obviamente muchos se están preparando y muchos se están yendo. Mi pregunta es, ¿tú has visto el número de colombianos cruzando subir? Have you seen the number of Colombians entering rise?
Oh, absolutely. What we're seeing is Colombia, Brazil, and Venezuela. All those numbers have actually increased, and we're seeing that they're crossing through Yuma, Arizona. So when I'm in Texas, we're not really running into South Americans. You'll see some here and there, but normally it's the Central Americans that are coming through Texas. The one area where I kind of captured that viral video of the Venezuelans, that's in Del Rio. So we are seeing the Venezuelans come to Del Rio. But one thing that actually shocked me, Rolando, was actually the number of Colombians that are coming in. When I'm speaking to them and said, "Hey, what city are you coming from?" It's Bogota is a number one city that I'm hearing from, which I'm actually shocked. I mean, I've been following Colombian politics. The country's been pretty stable, but it seems like as of the couple years, it's headed in the wrong direction. So we're seeing the Colombians coming in. Now, what I will say, Rolando, is the majority of Colombians coming in, they are middle-class citizens, so they're able to basically sell everything and then actually take a plane from Colombia into Mexico, and then from Mexico, they'll cross into Yuma, Arizona. With the Venezuelans, it's half-half. Some are able to afford the plane, and others, they have to do the long journey. And the part that I'm extremely worried about when we talk about the Venezuelan part is that they cross through the Darien Gap in Panama, which is one of the world's most dangerous migrant routes in the world. So we are seeing an increase in Colombians, which, like I said, I've been pretty shocked because I've been following the country. But we're kind of actually seeing a spike in throughout all South America. But we're continuing to see a lot of Venezuelans come in as well. And the new thing for us right now, Rolando, is the uptick in Brazilians now that are coming in. But I'm hearing, Rolando, right now that Colombians are fleeing Bogota, which I was really surprised because I always thought there was a city that at least was pretty well run. But what they're telling me is that there's huge corruption with the president there, and that we're seeing these kind of narco gangs in Colombia have that rise again. So we are seeing the huge influx. One thing I want to mention too, Rolando, which I thought was pretty fascinating, is that when I meet Venezuelans, half of them have a passport, half of them don't. The Venezuelan people have been telling me that it's extremely hard to get a passport in Venezuela. Now, for the people that do get a passport in Venezuela, what they tell me is that when they get the passport, that the passport office will automatically have them vote for Maduro to get that passport. One Venezuelan even mentioned to me that he has relatives that have been dead for 8 to 10 years, and those dead relatives are still counting votes for Maduro. So that's an interesting thing. When I'm running into Colombians, almost all of them have a passport, but when I'm speaking with the Venezuelans, about 50% don't, and 50% will have a passport.
Bueno, sí, yo estoy viendo los mismos números, yo los veo en mi oficina. Los números de llamadas de gente de Colombia han aumentado mucho. Están dentro del país, están huyendo, es impresionante. George, thank you for being on. Thank you for the time, I appreciate it. Jorge pronto va a estar de regreso en la frontera. Vamos a hacer otro en vivo con él, actualmente estando en frontera, para que nos actualiza qué es lo que está pasando hoy en día. All right, so acabamos de hablar con el periodista Jorge Ventura. Nos estamos dando cuenta que hay mucha gente que está entrando que no está siendo inspectado sin inspección, y muchos de ellos tienen antecedentes. No son gente buena, son gente violenta, son gente terroristas. O sea, da miedo para la comunidad. Tenemos que tener mucho cuidado. Pero ¿cómo les afecta un crimen si entran por frontera? Ahora, normalmente los que entran por frontera están pidiendo asilo. Cuando alguien tiene un antecedente y no son ciudadanos de este país, los afecta de muchas maneras. Por ejemplo, si tú tienes antecedentes y quieres entrar al país, hay muchas leyes que regulan eso. Crime involving moral turpitude. Si estás dentro del país y quieres ajustar y tienes antecedentes, también hay leyes que regulan eso. Pero ahorita, por la situación, me voy a enfocar en las leyes de la gente pidiendo asilo. ¿Okay? So, si entras y quieres pedir asilo y tienes antecedentes, te puede afectar. So, si tú has cometido lo que se llama a particularly serious crime, PSC, no serías elegible para pedir asilo. Y solamente te quedaría la opción de pedir suspensión de la remoción del país y suspensión de la remoción del país bajo la Convención contra la Tortura. Ahora, también hay leyes que regulan quién puede aplicar para suspensión de la remoción del país, porque hay ciertos antecedentes que te hacen inelegible para ese beneficio. Y si tienes antecedentes o una felonía agravada y que tiene una sentencia de 5 años de prisión, ya no serías elegible para suspensión de la remoción del país. Y también si tienes una felonía agravada que involucra el tráfico de drogas, también te perjudica, hay una barrera allí. Dependiendo de detalles en esa situación, puedes argumentar en contra de eso. Y por último, suspensión de la remoción del país bajo la Convención contra la Tortura. No hay una barrera de antecedentes. Pero igual es un nivel alto que uno tiene que demostrar de persecución para ser elegible para ese tipo de beneficio. So, en general, sí, si entras a pedir asilo, los antecedentes te pueden afectar. Siempre, si estás en esa situación, busca un abogado con mucha experiencia para analizar cómo te va a afectar en tu solicitud de asilo o de suspensión de la remoción del país. Y eso es el contenido de hoy. Entré por frontera y cometí un crimen. Gracias por estar con nosotros hoy. Si tienen preguntas o dudas, dejen sus comentarios. Acuérdense de suscribir. Acuérdense también de que los episodios de Abriendo Fronteras Podcast dependen de los que me están viendo. So, deja sus comentarios y basado en los comentarios, yo con mi equipo decidimos qué temas vamos a tocar en el futuro. Okay? So, gracias por estar con nosotros y bendiciones.